Okay, good morning. I feel so powerful, I have a mic. I feel like Madonna. I don't do her moves. Good morning, my name is Ido Abram. I'm director of CNL, the promotion agency for Dutch films abroad. Who of you saw recently a Dutch film? Thank you, Christian. I have to do my work better. Maybe one more? 10 points. So 2 people, I have to do my work better. Besides that, I'm also deputy director of the Film Museum, the National Film Archive in the Netherlands. Before that, I worked for the Binger Film Lab, which is a coaching organization for filmmakers from all over the world who came to Amsterdam to either develop their script through a series of masterclasses or to prepare the shoot of their film. Before that, I worked for the Rotterdam Film Festival for the Cinemart, the co-production market. I worked in distribution. I did so many things. Amongst others, listening to more than 3 million pitches. And I'm a very, very, very extremely bad pitcher myself. The good thing was that listening to all those pitches, the majority of those pitches were very bad. So I collected kind of a series of do's and don'ts, how to pitch or preferably how not to pitch. And the good news is you can forget all about that afterwards. Because in my opinion, the best pitch is a personal pitch. It should reflect who you are as a professional, what your project is about, and what you are looking for. And if you think of that, that's what we do all the time. Hanging with friends in a bar, how was your day? Okay, I'm working on this project. It's going well, or damn, I cannot get my writer to do it better, or whatever. It's easy. Then we just talk about ourselves and our work. The moment we start calling it pitching, strange things happen to us. We forget our own names, we forget to breathe, body language is all over the place. So what I'm going to do in a short hour is give you a lot of open doors, of which all of you will think, I know that. But trust me, they often make mistakes in pitches. It's interactive. If you have questions or remarks or want to curse me, just do it. Afterwards, I would love to ask 1 or 2 volunteers to give a pitch. Because, okay, let's get the elephant out of the room. Who likes to pitch? Wow. That's also good, almost as good as people seeing Dutch films. So we're getting there, that's very good. Also to make it easier, who has a lot of money to put into films? So we're safe. We can't do anything wrong, it's a rehearsal. Let's have some fun. I start with a little bit of theory and then comes the series of open doors. There are 3 different categories of pitching. First of all, the elevator pitch, also known as the cocktail pitch, or the toilet pitch. Don't do that. Never pitch on the toilet. Guys, it's mainly you. You're standing there and saying, can I pitch my project to you? No, I'm busy. Okay, toilet pitch, cocktail pitch, average length 30 seconds. There's one goal. It's to introduce yourself and to set up a meeting. That meeting can take place immediately after, can also be the next days. So it's just making an introduction. Do you know the term jolsing? I made it up myself, so you cannot know it. Jaws, the big shark. Okay, you know how a shark attacks its, how do you say, the thing he wants to eat? He's making circles. He's making circles. And imagine yourself at a cocktail party. And there's that producer you're really dying to meet with. A lot of people start sharking then, jolting. So they walk in circles, I'm not here, and making the circles smaller and smaller until the person thinks, for God's sake, what do you want? So, cocktail pitch, you need to be active, not to be rude, but if you want to meet with somebody, just introduce yourself, break in or say, sorry, can I introduce myself quickly? People are expecting that at festivals. Don't be shy. Shy is a good thing, not when you pitch. So cocktail pitch, 30 seconds, introducing yourself, go to the one person you want to talk to. Also very good, walk the room with somebody else. So you can have you can very good in conversation and then keep an eye on the person you want to really talk to. Okay. Second category, the one-to-one business pitch.
Business card or no business card?
Business card, not of this time anymore, I think, but the digital business card, perfect. And since nobody knows exactly how that works, it gives you more time with each other, so that's also good. But business cards, of course, are good, so that you can reach each other. The second category, the one-to-one business pitch or the table pitch. Average length, 20 to 30 minutes, of which, very important, only 5 minutes can be a pitch, and then it should turn into a conversation. Most people, when they pitch, they think, I have to do all the work. So they're sending out information constantly and forget to get information. And that's crucial, because you want to see if somebody is good for you and for your project. And not only that, they have to judge you. So the business pitch, 5 minutes pitching, and then a regular conversation with each other. Very important. And the last category is the forum pitch. Standing in front of an audience, they all watch you. That's scary. Average length 10 minutes, and that's most of the time including Q&A. And why I'm saying that, you see that people prepare themselves really well for the pitch. It goes smoothly, and then there is a very easy question from the room which they didn't prepare, and they totally collapse. When you pitch, you prepare the questions your audience might want to ask you. You keep that in mind in your preparations. So cocktail pitch, table pitch, forum pitch. Any questions till now? No, it's easy. Okay. Then the open doors series starting right now. Volume. When you pitch, you always have to make sure that people can easily understand you. For me, that's easy. I'm born loud and I have a mic. But even without that, in a surrounding where there's a lot of noise, you have to make sure that they can easily hear you. If they constantly have to tell you, sorry, what are you saying? They lose interest, they do something else. That's the last thing you do. So you always adjust the volume of your voice to the sound surrounding you. Then melody, also very important. When you speak naturally, picture yourself in the bar with friends. Your voice has a very nice melody line. It goes up and down, left and right. It's nice to listen to. But when you are nervous, you have the tendency of speaking on one melody line, and then preferably staccato. No, 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 no. And after 2 minutes, your audience is sound asleep. Even more terrible is the acting voice. People are nervous, but they think, okay, I can do this. I speak very theatrical, and nobody will listen to me anymore, but it doesn't matter because it feels good. No, it doesn't feel good. It's terrible. I have a colleague who's doing that all the time. When he speaks to somebody who thinks is important, he starts kind of opera singing. Ridiculous. Speak with your own voice. That's important. Your own melody. And last but not least, speed. Most people who want to pitch think, okay, let's put as many words as possible in as little time as possible. So they're speeding. While the biggest secret of a good pitch is a break. A break has several very good elements. It gives you the time to breathe. It gives you the possibility to underline something. My name is Ido Abram. I work for CNL. A small break underlines that. It gives you the possibility to look on your notes. What will I say next? So breaks are the best, easiest ways of making a good pitch. It also, and that's important, gives your audience the possibility to get acquainted with your accent, your voice, etc., etc. So make it easy for the people you're pitching towards, make it easy to yourself, and take breaks. So volume, melody, and speed, the first 3 open doors. Then body language, that's the fun part. If you pitch, you have to look confident. No matter how nervous you are, but if you look like, I don't believe in myself and in my project, nobody else will pay attention to it. It's simple. So you look confident. That means if you are standing, you stand up. If you're sitting, you sit up straight. It's there. You are there. You have a presence. But we have body parts that are always in the way. Hence, most people like to pitch like this. Hello, my name is Ido Abram. I try to block my face so that we don't have any connection with each other. Not good. And then people think, okay, I cannot do that, so they do this. Try it. Seriously, try it. Nice and tight. It feels good. And now try to breathe. And that's not working. It stops here. That's not good enough. Well, we have the same here. Hands in the pockets. A little rude. And guys, we like this one. Can be, but why? If you use your hands, and you can do whatever you want, use them as kind of directing tools. You can underline things with your hands, but make sure that they don't take over control, so that people are only watching your hands and not listening to you. But it's good. In the old days, because I'm very old, I was really at festivals in my element. A glass of wine in one hand, cigarette in the other hand. I could conquer the world. Now you cannot smoke anymore, and that's a pity. So, okay, 2 glasses of wine gives you a reputation. So what to do? A little piece of paper, for instance, with notes, with bullets of what you want to say for your pitch. Or a mic, it helps, but I love this. Or if you are standing next to a desk, just hold the desk. But be aware that you do something with your hands so that they're not taking over. If you survive that, legs. Most people who are pitching become line dancers. The legs are everywhere. It's all over the place. And seriously, you're laughing now, but just a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at a pitch, and the person who did the perfect pitch, by the way, was doing this all the time during the pitch. And afterwards, I asked him, why were you doing that? He had no idea. So, in principle, you can do whatever you want. You can jump, you can dance, you can flick-flack. I don't care, as long as it's decided by you to do that, so that you control your body. So the body language, look confident, use the elements, your body parts in good order, but make sure they don't take the attention from what you are saying. Any questions on this?
Yes, but I mean, as you say, he wasn't aware of it. I think that's the fundamental problem. So you have to control it, but the moment you're standing in front of people,
It happens.
it happens. So is it what to do about it? And the thing is, it's the step before. How do I take control?
I have very bad news for you. There is no controlling. It's being aware of it. So when you pitch, and that's now I'm serious, when you pitch, you have to prepare yourself. Not only the pitch, but also think of these things in principle. But it can happen. And trust me, I will share with you what happened to me. So this is nothing. But I come to that in a little later. Yeah. More questions? No questions, okay. Breathing, also very important. Because if you stop doing that, you die. And that's sloppy during a pitch. But most people, they take one deep breath and then try to speak for 5 minutes in a row without catching the breath. First you become red, then purple, then green, and if it's gray, it's really too late. I told you already, the best secret weapon of a pitch are the breaks. Also to catch your breath. It's really important. It kills the nerves. It gives you time to think. What will I say next? Etc., etc. So keep on breathing. We're speaking 1990. Here it comes. I was working for the Netherlands Film Festival. And 10 minutes before the opening premiere screening of a film, the director said, "Oh, you do the introduction." Sorry. Okay. I was 18, extremely ambitious. I can do this. So standing in front of an audience, 400 people staring at you. That's scary. That's seriously scary, but ambitious. So standing behind a little desk, tapping the mic, which was switched off, looking for a button, couldn't find it. And I saw in films that you do this to the operating room. So I was doing this. And my colleagues in the operating room were waving back, of course, not helping me out for a second. And then I took a deep breath, and at exactly that moment they turned on the mic, of course. So Dolby surround through the entire cinema. But I was ambitious and focused, so I didn't notice. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Netherlands Film Festival Board and directors, welcome to the world premiere of blah, 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 blah. No breaks, no briefing, etc. So, after a few moments, I was completely out of breath, again in the mic. But to make things worse, in my total panic, without knowing it, here it comes, I had lifted the desk and walked with it to the other side of the room. And after 2 minutes, and we're talking seriously, not more than 2 minutes, I kind of came out of my coma. And then I thought, why is everybody laughing so loud? And what the fuck am I doing here? And then you have to lift the desk again. And that's heavy, seriously heavy, like it's the normal thing we do here. Well, my colleagues who were there to support me, you know, they were on the floor crawling with laughter. What were you doing? What were you thinking? I had no idea. In total panic, it just happened to me. So still, if I see people from that time, they do this. Control your body. That's very important. Keep on breathing. Dividing attention. Back to serious now. That's also important. No matter if you're standing in front of a room, what you see happening quite often is that people take one victim. And they start talking only to that person. And they ignore everybody else. You look very stoic still, but after 5 minutes you want to kill me. That's not the idea. So you divide your attention over the people you pitch in front of. Also, when you're sitting at a table with 2 people, there is a mistake. What a lot of people do, they think, I focus on the one person that's the most important. So, and they ignore the other one. Never good. Always become friends with the people who answer the phone. So seriously, divide your attention. It's important. Take them in and take control. That's important. You decide what you say, and you say things too. But divide your attention. Last but not least, mindset. And this is the only extremely serious thing I'm sharing with you. Most people pitch with the wrong mindset. They pitch from a point of desperation. I really want to make this project. It's really, really, really good. Please trust me. This is a little bit exaggerated, but recognizable, I guess, in a way. You have from now on, and that's an order, not that you have to listen to me, but pitch with a different mindset. You pitch with the mindset, I have something to offer. And it's exactly the same. Because what you have to offer is great, it's wonderful, but it's what you need to think. Because let's face it, if we are not looking for new projects, then at one point this industry is gone. The people are too old, they're out of business, financiers cannot finance anymore, distributors cannot release films anymore, festivals cannot program films anymore, so you have indeed something to offer. The only thing is that you have to find the right people who want to make a similar kind of film you are envisioned to make. And that's a hell of a job, and that's why we pitch. But not from a point of desperation, please help me, but from a point of, if you're lucky, you can work with me. That's too much to the other side, but you know what I mean. You have something to offer, and that's important. And you will hear more no's than yeas. But you only need 1 or 2 yeas to make it happen. Any questions? Now it feels almost like we have to stand up and do a prayer all together, but that's not going to happen. Okay.
It's important to have something to offer, but what about coming out as arrogance? That can be that as well.
Yeah. Arrogance is not good, especially not in a pitch, but modesty is worse. Because it's not about arrogancy, it's about knowing what you have and what you want. And that's a good thing. That's a quality we like when we talk to filmmakers. They have an idea, and maybe they're open to other suggestions or to remarks, etc., etc. But somebody says, I think I have a great project, but I'm not completely sure how I'm going to do it. Well, I'm not touching my hands on that. So it is indeed about you have something to offer, you have something to share with them, and of course it's a collaboration in the end. But I come back to the modesty and the arrogancy thing.
Yeah, already talking from the audience, all these faces looking at you,
Yeah.
and not saying anything because it's not a natural communication situation. You talking to people and they would answer, but it's all these eyes staring at you. And this is, yeah, I don't know how to bridge this.
Well, there are several tricks which are silly. Envision them naked. Seriously, no, it's in a lot of pitching books. It is that it's envision them without clothes, so it makes it easier. I'm not sure about that personally, but pitching will always be nerve-wracking. But indeed, if you have the idea that you have something to offer, and if you're confident on that, it makes it easier. I think for me, it's really complicated to pitch myself. I can pitch Dutch films, and trust me, that's a hell of a job. Nobody's watching them. You see? Okay, tomorrow, 2 o'clock, Sweet Dreams, Ena Sendijarevic. It's a beautiful film. You all go and see it. And tell them that I said that, okay? So pitching something else is easier. Pitching yourself is more nerve-wracking. So your own project is very close to your heart. So that's nerve-wracking. That comes with the job, in principle. Also, another trick, an easier one, if you stand in front of a room, when you have some distance, this is too close, look at people's hair. So it looks like you look them in the eye, but you all have beautiful hairdos, I must say. That's another trick. But the best thing, my suggestion, just dive into it. Because the good news is, no film has not been made because of a bad pitch. The bad news is, no film has been made because of one good pitch. So a pitch is making people hungry for more. Then you start discussing. Then you start reading scripts, looking at people's work, etc. And then the real work starts. And that's what we know how to do. Then the nerves are gone. So it's the introduction, in principle, it's the initiation. Let's go to the pitch itself. In principle, and listen very carefully what I say, so it's not in this order, or it's not the way you have to do it, but this is how it mostly is being done. There are 3 different layers of information within a pitch. The first layer of information, I call that the track record information. Who are you as a professional? That's complicated for most people because, as I said before, then you have to talk about yourself and it feels like arrogant or bragging. But the easiest way of getting the other person to know who they are dealing with is to tell them which films you have been making, for which festivals they've been selected, or if they have won awards. Because that's what everybody knows. That's the language we speak in this industry. If it's your first film, it's great. Because there are a lot of people looking for first-time filmmakers. So you say, this is my first film. I'm trained as a lawyer, and now I'm moving to film or whatever. Give me some background information of you as a professional. That's important. The reason for mentioning titles of films is that people might have seen it, might have read about it, and if they recognize it, they get a spark of energy in their mind, which helps. And if they don't recognize it, they forget it immediately. So share that information generously and don't be modest. Years ago, I gave this training in Israel, just to let you be impressed how internationally I'm working. I was invited, excellent. And there was the director of one of my all-time favorite films. The film is called La Vie de François, also known as Madame Rosa. Don't look at the cheap rip-off remake on Netflix. It's with the one with Simone Signoret. It's seriously a beautiful film. It was the first Israeli film that won an Oscar. So he was one of my heroes. And he came and did the pitch. And he didn't mention that. He refused to mention that he won an Oscar. So afterwards I told him why. He said, it's more than 15 years ago. Now it's more than 25 years ago. I said, it's not about that. It's about recognition and recognizable. People recognize an Oscar. So that's important. It helps them to give you an idea about who you are. So track record information, it's not to brag, not to be arrogant. Sharing information, who you are as a professional. Nothing more, nothing less. Questions? Good. Then the pitch itself. That's the complicating thing. What's my project about? Most people try to tell the richness of their story, their project, in a 3-minute pitch. That's undoable. It's simply not working. So you have to give me the story of the film in a nutshell, in a few lines. And that's not the log line. The log line is a marketing tool. But it's the headlines of the story. What's the film about? What's the genre? Do you want to do anything specific with it? Special cinematography? You're only working with amateur actors? Just saying, something like that. So the story itself and some important elements that will enrich the way you're going to tell the story. Plus, and that's the crucial part, that's what makes a pitch successful or not. Why does this film matter to you? What's your urgency to tell this story this way? And then urgency is similar for a comedy or a drama or a thriller, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a political urgency, can be, can also be your personal urgency. So what will happen with the world if you wake up tomorrow and you cannot make this film to make it more dramatic? So those kind of films you can do it with as well. Because remember that in principle every story has been told before, and that's totally fine. But it's the way you're going to tell the story and your passion behind that and why you want to tell the story this way. So that urgency, that has to be reflected within the pitch. And I don't want to hear, I have the urgency to tell this film, because this is something that is in between the lines everywhere, all over the pitch. This is really what it is all about, the core of the pitch. And people will react to the core, not per se to the story. So that's only underlines how important that is. Any questions on this? Because this is the crucial part, together with the desperation thingy. Good. Then the last layer is, what am I looking for? Well, then most people say money. Okay. We can be a little bit more specific. You have to be as specific as possible without being exclusive. What I mean with that is, I'm looking for a German co-producer. And then all the non-Germans in the room start doing their emails because you're not interested in them anyhow. So I'm looking for co-producers. We're thinking of Germany, but open for other options, etc., etc., etc. You know how to do it. But also, I'm looking for script coaching. I'm looking for a distributor try to be as specific as possible. That's the last layer of information, and if you take all those layers together, so track record, story, urgency, core, and what am I looking for, you can divide it in the things you have and the things you need. And the things you have in pitching language, and I seriously hate that, we call unique selling points. But it is true. And that's a very long list. Start with your name, your company, your title of your project, the theme of your project, people involved in the project, films you've been made before, etc., etc. It's a huge list. And the list of what you're looking for, what you need, is much smaller. And once the film is made and found an audience, shown at festivals, shown in cinemas, shown on streamers, television, then it's gone. It's all become a unique selling point. And then you start all over again with a new project, preferably by starting to pitch the new project again. And that's our life. We should have found a proper job. But this is all we can. So, any questions? This is a very knowledgeable, thank you for that, yes. Come with the questions, yes.
Should you try to explain that your film will be profitable, will make money?
Do you really want to risk?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. In a way, depend on who you're pitching towards. Because for the majority of people, in my opinion, it's a given. And I know it's not a given, of course. But that's what we hope. We hope that we make films that found an audiences, and will make money after all. And we also know that a lot of films are not doing that. Okay. But for instance, for, let me think, a streamer might be more important to talk. Now, if I speak to the people from Netflix, they're looking for commercial stuff. If it's hardcore art house, it's an accident that is on their schedule, in principle. So they want to know about new projects, how profitable it can be. If you talk to a private fund, for instance, depending on what kind of fund, it might be less of their interest. So I think that's the only real answer is, depending on who you're pitching towards, you use different kind of unique selling points, different information. Keep in mind that they all talk with each other. Even the biggest competitors, that happened so many times when I was in Rotterdam. Then there were people trying to flatter the sales agent they were talking to and say, oh, we really want to work with the Match Factory because Fortissimo, that sucks. And since there were no friends, Match Factory and Fortissimo, all of a sudden they were buddies for life, you know, and against you. So it's not helping you. Stay with yourself, it's not necessary. Flattering is not working. What is working is that you know what they've been doing. So if, for instance, you have a meeting with a producer who just won an award at a festival, it's nice to congratulate him or her with the award. It's kind of paying attention to it. So, and I cannot underline that enough, pitching is preparing. You need to do a lot of preparation on forehand. You can do a lot of things out of the blue, but if you want to do it properly, you know who you want to see, who you're gonna see, and you do your homework. Sorry, used to be a schoolmaster. But it's how it is in principle. More questions?
Can you do like example of the pitch?
Hell no. I told that I got my volunteers already. No, but seriously, I'm a bad pitcher. It's very easy to react to a pitch and to tell how to do it, but to do it, that's a complete different story. And trust me, I'm used to public speaking, and I found it nerve-wracking every time. And then people say they think that's funny. You know, you're killing yourself almost on stage and say, oh, it's so funny to see you were nervous after all those years. Fuck it. But it's like that happens. Sometimes it goes great, and sometimes it doesn't. That's my only thing. So no, I'm not going to do it, but somebody else will, and then we'll react to it. I saw a hand over there and there. I come to you.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask that. I think most of us are representing probably 2 or more projects this time with Locarno. So, like with me, I have 2 projects, and one is more serious and one is more like fantasy. I'm thinking about the order. Like, if you have 2 different kind of a genre movie, and you're going to pitch in one go, which one would you place first? And which one would you place second? Because I want to be fair.
I would seriously focus on one project only, and then tell them, but I'm also working on some others. And if they say then, okay, tell me more, then you're free to go. But you can't. Okay. Well, you can divide. Okay. No, but it's then play it equal. But it's more difficult. We know, most people are working on more projects than one at the same time. But the pitch is very concentrated in time. So, and as I said, I think it would be a pity if you only would be sending out information and not getting information from the others. So if you need all the time to say, okay, project 1, blah, 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 project 2, blah, 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 then your time is gone. So I would making choices. Yeah, you're not going to do that, I see that. Then I seriously don't know, I don't know the projects. So then it depends on who you're talking towards, which project you start, which fits most in their skill, their lineup, for instance. But also with that, be careful. In my long time working in the film industry, what I saw happening in Rotterdam, for instance, for the cinema, the co-production market, there were all kind of submissions which were resembling the winners of Cannes the year before. So, for instance, Dogma, when it was hot in Cannes, 50% of the projects presented were Dogma spoofs. Or if a genre film won a festival, the genre films came up. So make it your project. Make sure that it's important because you think it's important and you can explain why it's important. And then still, I'm not answering your question. I don't know. Yeah, sorry. Let me know afterwards, okay? How would you go? Okay. Okay.
My first question is it best to have a script for your pitch that you learn word for word, and then when you're up there presenting, you try and make it sound as natural as possible, or should you have talking points that you kind of riff off of and just hope that it will sound cohesive? That's my first question.
The last, but make it sound cohesive. That sounds stupid, but don't underestimate the human brain, because we simply cannot follow. My first time in India, again, I travel a lot. I was at a reception and somebody came to me and said, "Can I pitch you my project?" I said, "Sure," because that's what you're supposed to do at festivals. Pitching in India means reading. So after 20 minutes, I said, "Sorry, can I interrupt for a second? Where are you now with the script?" And he said, "I'm on page 33. And that's undoable. For me, at least, it's undoable. And there's nothing, that's their tradition. That's how they do it. People don't read scripts, they read the script. They tell the script. In a pitch language is you give me the highlights, and you make me, and that's important, make me hungry for more. Because you want me to read a script, or you want me to read a treatment. And please, and I'm saying this already for more than 20 years, 28 years, I don't know how long, don't send out a script too early. No matter how eager you are to start shooting or to get production financing, this is more than ever a one-read industry. So you can send a script with a version and side letters saying that Act 3 is going to be changed completely, blah, 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 blah. If they don't like it, they never touch it again. So only send out materials when you think it's right for them to read. Treatment, serious. The same goes with works in progress. You know what's the most used lie in the film industry? I can see through this. We can't. So also, it's up to you. And we do it lots for festivals because we want to make a deadline. We want them to look at something. But my strong advice would always be only when you think it seriously reflects the quality of the film you intended it should have. If not, on the script or on scenes, don't send it out. But coming back to your question, give me the highlights to make them hungry for more.
It's not, you would say that, like having a rehearsed speech, where you're like, da-da-da-da, this is what I'm going to say next, you've got it all in your head rehearsed. You would say improvising yourself.
Yeah, but because it's if you go to a co-production market and you have to do 20 meetings after each other, you're sliding your wrists. Seriously, because it's all of the same. And there's a good, that's a good exercise actually, to get the fundamentals right. To write the entire pitch from the very beginning to the last letter you're saying, write it all on the paper with a pen. So no laptop, no typing. Seriously, the old-fashioned handwriting. Then read it out loud in front of a mirror. The mirror is not necessary, but read it out twice, and then throw it away. Then the fundamentals of what you want to say are in your system. And then you can improvise. And you need to improvise because if you talk to somebody and you see that in their eyes a spark of interest of something you're saying, you want to go further into detail on that. So, and that's not to be planned on forehand because you simply don't know. So you need to be flexible. A rehearsed pitch might sound more fluid or fluent, but it's not better. It's also more distance. And also keep in mind that most people, when they hear somebody pitching, the only thing they are thinking is, I'm so happy that I don't have to do this. While at the same time, they have to do that because you're going to ask them questions. And then they're going to pitch their ideas and their company and their track record, etc. So it is an equal situation. And I think that's another important thing. One of the most brilliant things we once did in Rotterdam when I was working there, and it was not my idea, but it was a brilliant idea, is that what we used to do is that the people with the projects, they were walking from table to go to the decision makers, as we call that. So other people from the industry who could become potential partners. And at one point we switched that. So everybody with a project had their own table, and the decision makers had to walk around. Wow, that was something. Most people really didn't like that. People with the project loved that. So you have your own safe haven, your own table. This is my home. I'm welcoming you into my home. Keep that in mind. You have something to offer. I cannot stress that enough. That's all what it is about. Mm-hmm. Very good one. No. Well, don't laugh. Because that's another question most people will ask you. Because also keep in mind that a lot of people don't dare to ask questions because they are afraid they ask a silly question. So a reference film, can you mention a reference film, is the most used question in principle. There was, and this is way before your time, but Christian, you know her. There was a sales agent from Switzerland, one of the best in the world, Christa Saredi. Anyone knows her? I once had a friend of Krista in the room, then I had to be careful what I'm saying. But she was seriously good. She did all the big art house directors. Lars von Trier, Ang Lee, Jim Jarmusch, you name it, she did. Aki Kaurismäki, it was top of the bill. So people who are going to pitch to her said, well, this is going to be the new blah, 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 the new Breaking the Waves of 2023. And then she got up, said, sorry, I did that film already, and walked away. And she seriously did that, and she never came back. A reference film is good if people ask it, but don't use it yourself, because go out from your own strength. That's important. More questions?
Before you mentioned something about naming your accomplishments, naming like the Oscar thing, even if it's outdated, still naming it. But what about if you, let's say, almost made it, if you got shortlisted for a nomination at the Oscars?
Mm-hmm.
Is that worth to mention?
Yeah.
Does it have any value, and why?
Because people, again, I hate the Oscars. Seriously, it's such a commercial machinery. But then again, everybody knows it. So if your film is shortlisted for an Oscar, that's kind of, okay, I recognize that. So that's good. If your film has been submitted for a national Oscar committee, and was not coming close to, then maybe it's getting less. So it's about actual things, nominations, selections, and so on and so on. Name dropping, that's another thing, what people do, is only working if it's confirmed. So my script, well, I can share with you. Julia Roberts is seriously interested. Yeah, I've sent it to her agent. Well, actually, it's the cleaning lady of the office who works next door to the agent of Julia Roberts in Tokyo, who's out of business, and so on. That doesn't work, but if it's there, if somebody committed to do the film, to be an actor in a film or a DOP or whatever, mention that. Again, track record. And it's about more people than only you have confidence in the project, so that's helpful. And seriously, don't underestimate your audience, but don't overestimate your audience either. If you say, my film was being shortlisted for the, I say, Student Oscar in '99, mention the title of the film. If I recognize it, it stays with me. If I don't recognize it, it's gone immediately, so no harm done. Two more things, and then we want to do one try, eh? We want to do one try, don't we? Yes. Thank you. Okay. Technique. A lot of people use, when they pitch, use technique. What I hate is the PowerPoint pitch. So people have on the screen everything they're saying, so they kind of read it out. That's boring. I'm a very quick reader, so I've read it before you even opened your mouth. And then I'm bored. So that's not working. Use elements, use information that add to what you're saying verbally. That's important. So maybe a mood board or something, but it should add something and not only repeat what you are saying. And then technique might fail. And that's seriously important. No matter how many times you rehearse on forehand, if it all of a sudden doesn't work, you have to be able to do the pitch. And a couple of years ago, it was in Utrecht, the people who was supposed to do the pitch was only cursing 3 minutes through the technician, through the mic, because the technique was not working. And nobody wanted to meet with her afterwards. I know it's about nerves, but you have to be able to do it without. And last but not least, pitching in a team. How to divide tasks. That's a nice one. Because you have to divide tasks. Who is saying what? In principle, there is the standard division that the producer is doing the introduction, more kind of the company, and the writer is fantastic, and the director is even more magnificent, and then the director is telling something about the content, and then the producer kicks off with what they're looking for. That's how it most often is being done. There's no rule for that. If you pitch as a team, you have to be able to do the entire pitch from A to Z, both of you or the three of you, no matter how you divide the tasks. Who of you ever had a blackout? Only one? Okay. Blackout, you know, the grey pudding in your head, and the only sound you can make is Very important. That can happen during a pitch. If you pitch as a team, what you see happening, if somebody of the team gets a blackout, the others look at them and, what are you doing? That's not the idea, you take over. That's why you have to be able to do the entire pitch from A to Z. But even more important, if you're not speaking, if it's not your part of the pitch, you have a role. You have a role of listening, seriously listening what the other is saying, making empathic nods, like, interesting. But also checking the room. Because if I see somebody not paying attention, and if I look at that person with a little smile, in 2 seconds I have them back on track. So that's also how you play the room. You take control. You make them hungry for more, because you have something to offer. Okay. And now we're going to do something really scary. I'm going to ask you, because you like pitching, to do a little improvised pitch. But before we go into that, just to make it sink in, and I always wanted to be kind of a religious guru, the mindset. I want you all to stand up. This is terrible. People look at me like, oh, and he's going too far now. And I count to 3, and then you say, as confident and serious and knowledgeable as possible, I have something to offer. Okay? That's the mindset from now on. 1, 2, 3.
I have something to offer.
Okay, well, no, we're not winning wars with this one, people. 1, 2, 3.
I have something to offer.
Thank you very much. It's extremely brave you're doing this. It's extremely brave you're doing this. You can get a mic if you want. And you get 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Hi, I am a Japanese living in Switzerland permanently. And I'm a film critic. I have my own YouTube channel in Japanese. And to direct a film is my child time dream. And I finally did it. I went to Japan. I just made a short film, 18 minutes. And I'm very happy because I could make the movie I wanted to make. And I wanted to make a movie. It's the first time, as a first-time movie. It's not perfect, immature, rough, but something has an impact in it. Some some impression, and has the author's voice. I want to make something movie different. I think I made it. I'm very happy that I made it. And this is about 3 fugitives escape into a cottage during the storm. And they have secrets in the past. They are victims and also offenders at the same time. As the 2 men, they are all-time friends, escaped in the cottage, and mysterious woman also joined in the cottage. Then see what happens between them. And I identify myself with this woman. She's kind of beaten in the Japanese society, has a lot of anger, and at the end, the film is about choosing friendship and money, and friendship also love, and also conflict. Yeah, it's a conflict of money and power, money and love, and also about desire to escaping from the reality. And this is my movie, and I really loved making movie. So I have a lot of projects I want to do. Already I have 2 projects I'm thinking about in Switzerland, and also I want to develop this feature film, this short film into a future film. And also before I wrote a novel, it's about Japanese, but in Israel. So maybe I have a lot of projects, but at this point I want to learn the industry, and I also want to know where to send my first film into the which film festivals.
Thank you. One second. I think it's extremely brave that you did this. So one more applause for this. And also thank you for not mentioning your name. The simple things, as I said, and not mentioning the title of the film. You said a lot about the films, but just to stress how I started, when we pitch, we forget the most easy things which we normally would say. And for your upcoming pitches, if you speak about your own film, don't say it's rough, maybe not perfect, etc. You can say that, but not in the pitch. You can say that in a regular conversation or when people react to the film. But if you pitch, we don't say what we don't have, what we don't like, what we didn't achieve. So on that level, the pitch, it's not the most realistic one, but make it personal, and that's what you did. So it's nice to listen to. Thank you very much. This is it. You're going to pitch like crazy the upcoming days. Enjoy it, because you know. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Enjoy the festival.